do you ever go through your days thinking, the furthest thing would be me sitting down talking about this life in such an open way? I mean, you're there, you're living it. It's supposed to be all in the shadows, but yet now you're talking to millions of people about it. Back then, if I just popped in on one random day and I saw you on the streets and I was just like, hey, just so you know, in a couple of years from now, you're going to be talking to 60 million people on YouTube. I mean, you probably would have, I don't know what you would have done to me, but like, you know, I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would have said you're out of your mind. This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the furthest thing from my mind. You know, I take things as they go, and you know, it started off when I first came out. My wife said, you wrote a book, your daughter wrote a book. She was interested in writing a book, a woman's story. And it went from one spot to another. There was a producer, I wound up chasing him. Then it went to somebody wanting to do a podcast, and that's how I got into the podcast thing. So I wasn't going to help her with the book. It was her little gig. And then she said, well, we're not going to do the book. What do you think if we do a podcast? And I do other things. And I told her that she's always, you know, we're divorced, but she's always been very close to me, very tight. She's been there all the time I've been in prison, sending me commissary money, Christmas cards, birthday cards, keeping the family together. So anything she wanted me to do, I said, okay, I'll work for you. You could have my rights. I'll work for you, and you tell me what to do. So when she focused me into the podcast, I did it. I jumped in. I said, you know, how bad could it be? So I started doing that. And like I said, we didn't get very far until we met you.
When you first start that, though, when you first start to like say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this podcast, I'm going to commit to this, regardless of where we are in the timeline, are you afraid of being out there? I mean, you have had so much written about you. There's so much press, like you said, you're labeled all of this. Sitting here now, we're seeing all the comments, you see the reaction. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. I'm blown away by all the comments. I mean, when those videos come up, or when you look at the podcast, I mean, the comment section is just out of control. But was there a moment before all that where you were just a little like, I don't know how this is actually going to go?
Oh, absolutely. When I first started, actually, my son put me on, I think it was Facebook. I didn't even know he did it. I was getting messages on my phone. I said, what's going on? And my son told me, I put you on Facebook. And then he put me on YouTube, and the same thing. But I did get a lot of, you know, my ex-wife and people told me, bro, you're going to be called everything under the sun, bad names, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, I've been called that before. My skin is a little on the thick side. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. I have no idea. I had no idea. But I thought I would get slammed, and I got so many good comments. I'm a people's person. People send me these messages. I mean, they ask me for advice. They have marital issues, family issues, a kid who's out of control. Guys telling me, I watched your video, I got pinched, I'm about to go to prison in 2 months, how should I act? And, you know, people were saying, you don't have to answer all these things. I answered all of it, as many as I could. And I find that I'm a people's person. That's what I was basically all my life. So I want to talk to a person about doing things. I started putting together a team. I'll point at her, Kenna. I call her Zaza because her last name is Gabor, so I gave her a name, Zaza Gabor. But she's a young woman, and I find that the kids in society right now, nobody cares about anything. Yeah. She does. So when I catch a young kid who cares about their future, how to make a career, meet people and talk and work hard and stuff, I love that. So I try to give them my wisdom. I give them as much help as I can get. So I enjoy even that part of it. I met this guy, Richard Miller. My son was looking for an office. This real estate guy takes me over here. The office is right next door. So I'm waiting for my son to meet me, and I see this sign. It's a studio. And I knock on the door. This big guy comes to the door. I call him Big Rich now. Comes to the door, and I said, "This is a studio?" He says, "Yeah, he does this kind of business, these things, and he has all kinds of equipment and cameras and everything like that." I saw that, and I said, "Wow, I'm doing a podcast." So I said, he introduced himself. So I said, "My name is Sammy." He said, "Not Sammy the Bull?" I said, "Yeah." And I don't know if he got scared. I don't know why. He's a big dude, and he's a sweetheart. So I started talking to him, working with him, and I'm still with him now. And right now he's out of town, but I work with him. So I got great people around me. I surrounded myself with good people, hardworking people, and it makes me enjoy it more.